Yes, guys. So, Kell Brook versus Frankie Gavin, Anthony Joshua, and also he dismantled. Let me just say, he dismantled his opponent. Anthony Joshua, for me, he just took out a guy who has never been stopped. He's been in with Klitschko, didn't get stopped. Kevin Kingpin Johnson, I don't know too much about him. I haven't been watching the heavyweight division very closely for a long time. So I'm not going to front like I have. I've been watching since Tyson Fury came, Joshua, David Price, and Deontay Wilder. Since these guys have started coming into the mix, I started watching the heavyweight division. I've not been interested. Like most of the public, I haven't been interested in the heavyweight division. It's not really done it for me. Bad chest. Okay, so Anthony Joshua, we're going to start off talking about that, and then we're going to go into Kell Brook and Frankie Gavin. I'm more interested in Anthony Joshua, to be honest, in this video. Kell Brook we'll talk about, but the more interesting stuff for me was about Anthony Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua proved today that he is the real deal. And I've been saying this for a very long time, because for me, when you have a fighter who's got an Olympic gold medal, you've got a fighter who's got power, you mix in a good chin, and their ability to transfer their amateur style into the pro ranks, you're looking at, not definitely, but you're looking at potentially quite a good fighter, you know? The chances are high, basically, you know? Your chances have increased. And for me, I saw this in day one. I saw Anthony Joshua's boxing. I liked it. I thought he will improve, and he's continuing to improve, and his power is devastating. You mix that with his amateur record, I mean, you've got a lethal fighter right there. You know, we've not seen any signs of a hurt chin, you know. He's been hurt in the amateurs when he was quite younger. Up until right about now, I've not really seen any signs, but he hasn't faced the opponents to test his chin yet. That's the only question about Anthony Joshua. Can he take a big shot? Which brings me on to, can Anthony Joshua face the big names in boxing? There's David Price, who's still out there. There's Tony Thompson. There's the Klitschko's. There's Povetkin. There's Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury. These are the fighters who eventually Anthony Joshua is going to have to step it up against. And I'm going to tell you straight, I really like Tyson Fury as a heavyweight. I think he's brilliant. And I really like Deontay Wilder. I think he's brilliant. People tend to sway with one rather than the other. I actually really like all three of these heavyweights, and I can't choose between them. I struggle to think who would win between Deontay Wilder and Fury. I can't pick. I think who will win between Deontay Wilder and Joshua. I think styles make fights, and I think Joshua would take that. But who would win between, I don't know, Joshua and Fury? I think Fury might be able to take it, but, you know, Joshua's looking lethal today. I've got to say that Anthony Joshua has come on leaps and bounds, and although he's facing not the best opponents, but you can tell in a fighter, even when it's against lesser opponents. I mean, he's just knocked out the guy in the second round who's never been stopped in 30-odd fights, you know? Yeah, he's had a few losses, but he's never been stopped. Anthony Joshua showed his power, and, you know, it's interesting because Anthony Joshua, he really looks up to Mike Tyson, and you see his inside game still, even now, even though he's tall and he's changed his fighting style, he still mimics Mike Tyson on the inside a little bit. I mean, he's still got that viciousness about him. He trains his neck in the same way. There's certain aspects that Anthony Joshua's got, and he's got that look as well. He's got the line in his head as well. You could tell when he's in that ring, he's in Tyson mode, and I really like that about Joshua. And he's the heavyweight that looks the part. He's performing in the, you know, to par as well. So he really fits the bill for Anthony Joshua more than any other fighter in the world. More than Tyson Fury, more than Deontay Wilder, more than anyone. He fits the bill. He really does. But as far as Deontay Wilder goes, he's the heavyweight champion of the world right now, the WBC. Klitschko is still there. Vladimir, he's still there. He's unbeaten. But I don't think he can last with these lads. I don't. I think Fury, I think Wilder, I think Joshua. Give Joshua a few more fights. He needs to be schooled yet. He needs to be... he needs to build. He needs to continue to build in steps. Not waiting too... You know, not fighting at too much of a low level. He needs to continue to step it up slowly. But for me, I think these fighters, and I'm really happy to say that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are from the UK. You know, Anthony Joshua, I think he's such a cool cat. Tyson Fury, I met him, and I'm not gonna lie, of all the interviews I've done, I was actually, when I was doing an interview with Tyson Fury, I was with a friend of mine, and the atmosphere was intense when I interviewed Tyson Fury. What he was talking about, it was pretty intense. I felt it. Like, you don't usually feel that sort of thing when, you know, you interview someone. I felt like it was quite intense, the interview was with me and Tyson Fury, because we wasn't talking about boxing, we were talking about other things. But shows he's got a brain on him, and he's not what he puts out to the cameras, you know. Tyson Fury, he's actually quite humble. He's not a prat. You know, I wouldn't dare call Tyson Fury a prat anyways. You know what I mean? But, like, I think they're all excellent fighters. Until they get in the ring, no one really knows what's going to happen. Wilder's got that unbelievable knockout punch, and Wilder also, he can box. You know, he can box, and he went 12, and he doesn't really necessarily get tired. Oh, I feel a bit tired. So I think they're all brilliant. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for us to see. I'd like to see someone like Tony Thompson versus Anthony Joshua next. I think that would be very interesting, and I think it's the right fight. And if he could take out Tony Thompson, that's a big step. That's a big statement, because Tony Thompson is not the best, but he's good. He's good. David Haye, let's not talk about David Haye, because I don't know where the hell he is, and I don't think he deserves to be talked about in boxing at the moment. As far as Kell Brook goes, Ezekiel Brook. Kell Brook. It was a boring fight. I wasn't entertained by it. But was I impressed? I was impressed. I was very impressed by Kell Brook, and over the years, Kell Brook has started to rub off on me a little bit, you know, like, no homo. Kell Brook started to, I'm becoming a fan of Kell Brook. No, I am a fan of Kell Brook. I'm not going to say I am a fan of Kell Brook. As a fighter inside that ring, and Kell Brook comes across not as a bad lad as well, to be dead honest, right? Kell Brook is getting better. He's getting better and better and better and better. He's always been good, but he's getting better. He really is. He wasn't this fighter a few years ago. I'm going to tell you now, he's become quite experienced now. Since fighting Sean Porter, fighting Jojo Dan, fighting Frankie Gavin, he's Senchenko, he's actually built up a resume, and it's a bit of a padded resume. It's not a solid resume, but he's got one good name, which is Sean Porter. But he's getting the experience, you know, and you can't beat that. He's getting experience against mid-level guys. It's gonna get him ready for, because he's fought one high-level guy, which is Sean Porter, so he knows he can perform at that level. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens when he fights the likes of Keith Thurman, if he does, Brandon Rios, and if Brook gets through Brandon Rios, then fights eventually they're gonna happen. I mean, we're gonna have to see a few rubbish fights in between. Let's be honest. That's the way boxing's become now, and I've just had to accept it. Al Heyman does it with his fighters, but I'm gonna do a video on that actually. But Kell Brook, I mean, it's just it's interesting. It's really interesting. Like watching him grow as a fighter. You know, he comes from the England camp. He's got power. As far as Amir Khan goes with Kell Brooks, we've got to mention that. You know, my opinion's changed a little bit on Amir Khan since the Chris Algieri fight. I'd like to see Amir in. You see, this is the thing. Chris Algieri, I don't know, man. I'm really in two minds about Amir. And the thing is, I'm talking like in terms of boxing analysis. Like, am I gonna, if Khan ever fought Brook, am I gonna like support Khan? Of course I'm gonna support him. I'm gonna support him 110%. You know, if he fights in the UK, I'll go to the fight. You know, I'll be there. I'll go. I won't send no one. I'll go myself to that fight. I'll cover that fight myself. And because Amir's been very good to me, you know, so I'm not gonna disrespect him in any fashion, in any sort of way. I would never disrespect Amir. But the thing is that in terms of boxing, the Chris Algieri performance wasn't good. It wasn't good. As far as Floyd Mayweather goes, you can still make the argument of that fight, because Mayweather doesn't fight like Chris Algieri, where he's gonna come forward and he's gonna be very active. Floyd Mayweather's gonna fight in spots, like Devin Alexander fought in spots. But you know, it's a different fight. It's a totally different fight, totally different dynamic. Khan didn't look good. Maybe underestimated him. Maybe his power wasn't there. Maybe whatever it is, yeah, he didn't look as built before the fight. But whichever way you swing it, Amir Khan didn't look good in that fight, and it's not a way you want to go into a Floyd Mayweather fight. As far as Kell Brook goes against Amir Khan, bad fight, man. That's not a good fight for Amir. Not right now. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm looking at Kell Brook, and he's growing. And I said this before. Had Amir Khan faced Kell Brook about a few years ago, I was picking Amir as a heavy favourite. But Kell Brook's getting more and more experience, and Khan isn't gonna get any better. He's at his pinnacle. I don't think he will get better. I think he'll make slight improvements with mistakes he makes. But I mean, you can't prepare for Kell Brook. You know, Kell Brook's a different style fighter. I think Amir. I think it's obvious you can't write Amir Khan off. I mean, he is Amir Khan. People hate on him, but he's Amir Khan. Think about it. His name is out there. He's a big name in boxing for a reason. You know, he beat big names. You know, that's why he's not a big name because of his, you know, PR. Because I think, to be honest with you, I think his PR is not good. I think that I just don't think he's had a good carrying of his public relations. I don't think the public have perceived him very well in the UK. He's got a fan base. He's made good money, but I think it's down to his boxing. I think exciting fights, he's must-watch TV, he's must-watch boxing. I mean, you always want to see an Amir Khan fight. Whether that's because he can cause knockdowns, or whether that's because he can get knocked out in one punch, or because you know that he throws blistering combinations which really hurt his opponents. But for me, I think Kell Brook, like, with the pressure and the power, and the way he can cut off the ring, and the way Khan wobbled against Algieri, you know, I want to see Algieri back in as well. Like, I want to see how good he actually is. Has he really improved under his new trainer? But as of right now, you've got to ride with Kell Brook. That Kell Brook, as a fighter, is coming on a lot, and he looks strong and he looks determined. You can say he's only beat one fighter in Sean Porter, very overrated record. I'm saying that. I'm saying it. But as far as Amir Khan goes, yeah, maybe Amir Khan could outbox him. If he goes to 12, Amir wins. But, I mean, Kell Brook is difficult to go 12 against. You know, I mean, he's taking out these opponents. Leonard Bundu, Frankie Gavin. Sorry, not Leonard Bundu. Who did he fight? Jojo Dan and Frankie Gavin. You know, they're not the best fighters, but to stop them in the fashion that Kell Brook did, pretty good. It's pretty good. It did hurt Sean Porter. So, I mean, leave your comment section below, but let me know what you guys think. I think Kell Brook and Anthony Joshua are looking really good. I don't think Kell Brook can be undefeated for very long. I think he will lose at some point. I think whether that's Keith Thurman or whether he takes an off fight, I don't think he's going to be very consistent in his performance, and I think he will lose. It could be 2 fights from now. It might be his next fight. He might lose maybe 5 fights from now, 10 fights from now. But he's not going to be undefeated for forever. And he will lose against one of the top welterweights. But that's just totally normal. Keith Thurman will lose to one of the top welterweights. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, the only welterweights that are really above their head and shoulders above everyone else. There is no one there that's on their level. They're unmatched. Leave your comment section below. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think about Kell Brook. What's next for him? I really want to see him against Keith Thurman. I don't think Rios is a good fight. I think it's... I like Rios, he's my boy, but Rios is genuinely like my boy. Like, I message him and he's a really, really cool... he's a really cool guy. I keep in contact with some of these fighters, and Brandon is one of them. But I just think, like, Kell Brook's style is he's a boxer and he's got power. So, and Rios is going to be there to get hit. So if that fight gets made, I give it to Brook. But as far as Keith Thurman goes, nah, I ride with Thurman on that one. I think Brook's got a good chance, but nah, I ride with Thurman. But Thurman's fighting Collazo right now. So Brook's next fight, I mean, August 29th, they're saying. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be Brandon Rios. Looking at Marquez, maybe. I think it will be a big US name. I think they have to make it a big US name. He's fighting, 3-4 times this year. I'm happy with Kell Brook. So I'm happy with Kell Brook. And I know he's fought Frankie Gavin and he's fought, who did he fight? George Dan early on in the year. But at least he's fought twice, 9 weeks after he fought Frankie Gavin. So I'm cool with that. And if he fights another couple of fights, I'll be very happy with it. Leave your comment section below. Make sure you subscribe. Kell Brook, Anthony Joshua, great fighters. Really looking forward to see what they do in the near future at their respective weight divisions in a bit, guys.